And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome to Small Talk with Shanay. Today is June the 7th, 2021. We are
You
on
got it.
episode 8. Today we have Whitney Hudson joining us. I will tell everybody a little bit about her in just a second. Just to tell everybody, this show is in conjunction with MEC, which is the Music and Entertainment Council of the Chattahoochee Valley area. For those who don't know, the Chattahoochee Valley area includes Columbus, Russell County, LaGrange, Phoenix City, Fort Benning, all of those different areas. What MEC works to do is to protect, stabilize, and sustain artistry in the Chattahoochee Valley area. What we're looking to do is to bridge the gap between artists, creatives, and everybody in the entertainment era in the community. We want to make sure that they all stay together and that we're all working together to keep people in our community and to grow our community, because we know that we have a lot of talent that tends to think that they have to go to other places in order to get their voices heard, and we don't want them to do that. So please like, share, subscribe to the MEC channel, and please like and share this video so that we can give more word out about our organization and so that everybody can learn more about our guests, such as Whitney. Today, I will be having her. She will be first telling us a little bit about herself and where she grew up, where she came from, and a little bit about what she does. Today's episode is very special because I have been highlighting a lot of artists and poets, but I also wanted to highlight other jobs in the entertainment industry, which Whitney likes to say is not entertainment, it's news. But news is entertainment to a lot of different people. So I wanted to highlight all the different jobs and opportunities that people go into that they don't realize are opportunities for people in our culture. So we're going to start off by giving her the floor to introduce herself a bit and to tell us a little bit about herself, like where she grew up and where she went to school and what got her into what she does now. And then we're going to just flow it on out. So Whitney, the floor is yours.
So, hello everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. I don't think Shanay talked enough about who we are to each other. So I'll just take a moment to talk about that. So Shanay and I are best friends. I want to call her a sister because that's what she's been to me. And we grew up together. If I talk about my influence at all today, I'll continue to talk about my friends and people who have coached me, who mentored me, who's been my therapy throughout the years. And Shanay has been one of those people to me. So this is one of my best friends. And although I'm not always in front of the camera, it's not my thing. I needed to come here today to support Shanay and all that she's doing. So I'm so honored to be a part of this and to be sharing the virtual stage with you today, Shanay. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for
And I
coming.
want to make today make sense because I don't always talk in front of the camera. It's not always my forte.
Even though she should.
So a little bit about me. I'm from Columbus, Georgia, born and raised. It is home to me. I still consider it to be home. My family lives there. A lot of my good friends still live in Columbus, and Columbus really shaped me into who I am today. I went to Hardaway High School. I have to stop at Hardaway because Hardaway was the place where I found myself. I grew up and I really was able to transition and become a woman and know what I was going to do at Hardaway. I had a lot of really good teachers and I had a lot of really good people around me that really influenced who I am today. So Hardaway is a big influence on me. I did go to Columbus State for 1 year. A lot of people don't know that about me. And then I transferred over to Georgia State here in Atlanta. But Columbus is home. It's where I was taught my roots and where I'm grounded in. And anytime I am feeling away or I need to have a way to think and just get away from the noise, I always go home and just visit home to kind of go back to my roots. So Columbus is home to me. Um, so a little bit of who I am. I currently work at CNN. I'm in management. Within my department, I'm a part of the senior leadership management team, and I lead a number of teams within CNN, from entry level people who are the first people who, well, the first job you would get if you were coming to CNN, to some of the really tenured jobs within CNN, people who've been there for 20 to 25 plus years, even some people who've been to CNN for as long as CNN existed. They report up to my department. So you think about senior producers, creatives, production staff, logistics staffs, business intelligence, which is where I got my start. Just a number of people who report up to me in my organization. So I do a number of things at CNN. It's really hard to put into words. I'll let Shanay ask all the questions that'll get to the meat of what I do. I just lead a number of teams. And I like to say that CNN isn't entertainment, it's news, but I do support things that I consider to be entertainment. So a lot of people don't know that CNN has a sister station that's called HLN. And HLN is news in the morning, but it's like investigation, documentaries, and other things at night. And just overall, the company that I work for, you guys will recognize some of the brands that we get to support or do things for, whether it's HBO Max, True TV, Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, Cinemax. All of those big brands that are on TV, they are within our company, and we get to support them in a number of ways. So that's kind of CNN and the company that I work for and the things that I get to support. Trying to talk a little bit about how I got interested and where I am today. You know, I don't know how I got to where I am. I did not take the conventional route. If you were to ask any of my colleagues this question, they will have a certain path that they followed, but I didn't follow that particular path. I remember, being young and traveling to Tennessee. We didn't go a lot of places, but we went to Tennessee as a family. And I remember we would take the route that went through Atlanta, and we would always on 75, 85, there's this building with all of the brands that I just mentioned on the building. And I used to think, wow, what would it be like to work for an organization like that? And I always zoned in on CNN because for me, CNN had a purpose. It was informing the world of things that were happening, good and bad. And I just always wanted to work for an organization like that. But I didn't really think it was a place that I could get to. I didn't know how I would be able to get there. So it was only a dream at the time. So when it was time for me to graduate high school and I was going to college, I needed to make some real decisions. And so I made a practical decision. And it was, what job could I get stable and that will always be around based on feedback around me, right? And so I actually started majoring in nursing. I think maybe it was biology, something that was going to get me to nursing. And I immediately kind of realized that that wasn't the path for me. I didn't even like going to the doctor and getting stuck with a needle, let alone like being a part of nursing and doing that for other people. So I immediately knew that wasn't for me. And I tried to shift things. I eventually transferred over to Georgia State, still didn't know what I was going to do and what I was going to be. So I said to myself, I'll do something that's sort of generic. So I majored in business. And majoring in business and then maneuvering through Georgia State, I remember there was this music organization. And then there was also a person that I knew who was from Columbus. I hope she doesn't mind me calling her out, but Michelle Ikwoge, she went to Georgia State too. And she was working for Patchwork Studios. And somehow or another, she got me on to working at Patchwork Studios. So I worked at Patchwork for a couple of years, and then I worked at smaller networks. I worked in local news. I interned at another station called AIB, and that was something that was really interesting to me. It was a creative path. It was something that I was passionate about, but then I still needed to make practical decisions of how do I make money and sustain myself. I was here in Atlanta by myself. And so while I was at Georgia State, I was working a job in a call center, and I was promoted to supervisor somehow. And then I went on to another company where I was supervisor of their operations. And then I was promoted to manager of their operations. And it was a good company. It was a Fortune 500 company. And then I remember getting that promotion for manager. I was telling people about it, and I wasn't as excited about it as other people were. And I remember that night when I got the promotion, where I should have been celebrating, I was applying to jobs at CNN. Mind you, this whole stretch of time where I was working at this good organization where people would have loved to be, even today, would have loved to be at, I wasn't that happy. And I remember the day I got the promotion, I was applying that night. I got an interview the next week. And then somehow or another, right after getting the promotion, I was getting a job offer 3 weeks later. And I had to make the decision of being in a place where I knew and understood and was familiar to me, to go into an organization that I didn't know and really creating a path for myself. And I say creating a path for myself because they created the job for me. It didn't exist at the time. And it was an unknown. I didn't know if this role was going to be gone in 2 years or if it would stay around. And fast forward to today, I'm doing what I really love to do. I'm leading teams. I'm impacting what people see on TV by way of my team. And so I didn't take a certain route. I don't know how I'm here today, but here I am. And I love what I do.
You do know how you're here today because you worked hard to get there. Whitney is like, she's so modest. Like, she is, but she isn't. But when it comes to talking about herself, she's so humble. Like, she'll be like, I really don't know what happened, but God bless me. But at the end of the day, she's a very, very hard worker and just brilliant. She was always the one that was like, okay, yeah, I got to go home because I don't want to stay here. I got to go and do my homework. We were like, oh, okay, fine. You don't want to stay with us? That's okay, cool. But I think that it's very important. I'm glad that you bridged the gap. And I was going to talk about who you were to me. You just, ruined my little segue, but it's okay. But Whitney is definitely one of my best friends. She was one of my first friends in middle school when I first got to Columbus, Georgia. And one of my first friends ever. She came up to me with her little cheerleader uniform on and was like, hey, what's your name? I think it's Shanay. And I was like, oh, okay. It is. Hi, how are you? But ever since then, though, we've been friends and right-hand man, as my mom says, like they're the sisters that she didn't have to have, is what she says all the time. But I like to bring up situations such as these because I feel like it's very important for young girls that look like us to see females like us and to know that there are different routes that they can take other than the routes that are presented to us. Because a lot of times, we are presented specific routes. And it's funny that you mentioned nursing because that's one of the routes that was mentioned to me coming up, even though that wasn't my original dream, but it was like, well, maybe I can get to it through nursing. And then I could go this way and then I'll own my own business and then I'll do it that way or whatever. So I think your mic is yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, she's not gonna but that's one of the things that is presented, and that's actually a generational thing, all the way back to when our grandparents were alive or whatever, because a lot of our grandmothers were nurses because that's one of the first jobs that were offered to women of color. And it's very important to bring that up because although it's a very important job, like hats off, our other best friend is a nurse, and hats off to her because she does it and loves it and kills it, but is always working. So hats off to all the nurses out there, anybody that works in healthcare. I used to be there, and especially in these times, hats off to you. Amen.
Absolutely. I'll say, Shanay, if I can hop on that, definitely we need our nurses and hats off to them. But I would also say, though, in some ways, when I was growing up, we were taught stability and getting things that were like safe. And somehow I kind of jumped on that bandwagon and I quickly jumped off. But, growing up in the community that I grew up in, it was about just making it and maybe even making it just enough to where you can get to some of the things that you want, but not really living out your dream. Living out your dream was a scary thing. And it was scary to me So I think in some ways, especially in the community that I grew up in, just making it based on where I was what we were taught. And so I think, living out your dream and things of that sort is something I think we need to hear more of, and we need to see more representation.
Exactly. And learning different roadmaps, just like you put out your roadmap of how you got to how you were. Even though you say you don't know how you got to where you were, it's important to know like how you got there for people that come up under us, because a lot of times they'll just see where you are now and be like, oh, well, you here, so you don't understand what I went through or what I'm going through at this present moment or whatever. And it's like, no, actually I do. I had to do A, B, and C to get to where I am today. And although I'm grateful for all of those steps, because a lot of times when you talk about your hardships, people think that you look at it negatively, and that's one thing that I like to like combat. You shouldn't think of it negatively. It shapes you, like when I look back on all those times, I laugh, like, because I was struggling. I was like, oh boy, I'm so glad. Like, I was crazy. Like, what was I doing? Like working multiple jobs to get through school, or shoot, going to school, even going to another city outside of the city you grew up in to go to college is a step. Like, and people don't even understand that. Like, just are people that go to other cities just to follow their dreams. It takes courage to do that. No
Yes.
one. You're like
Yes.
walking on a campus or walking down the street that you know nothing about. You don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
where any of these roads lead you. Like, you could really be living in the hood and not know a thing.
Yeah. I
Like,
relate to that so much, Shanay. I remember when I had got accepted to Georgia State before I went there. And then I was scared to go to Atlanta. Atlanta was just an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Columbus. And I was just afraid. I used other reasons that I shared with other people, but it really was that I was just scared to just make the jump. There was nobody there that I really knew. And I was just afraid of the unknown. And so I stayed at Columbus State for a while, and it did what it needed to do for me. It's some great people that are there, but I was just afraid to make the leap. And it took me a lot of soul searching, talking to myself and people like you and other people to kind of talk me into really going there. It's not easy.
mm-hmm. That's what I like to tell people all the time. Speaking of that, you are also an entrepreneur and a socialite. And those two things.
I didn't know that.
But with those things, I want to talk about juggling, because that's another thing that I like to hit on with my guests, and how the advice that you give to the younger generation or our peers about how you juggle having a fast-paced career, having time for your family, and having time for your friends, and what do you feel like helps you stay grounded, like doing all that together?
Yeah, I say the one thing that makes me stay grounded is I care about people in general. Is one thing that my mom taught me that I tried to emulate. I don't always do a good job of it, but just caring about people. So I show up to my job because I lead teams of people who are impacted by my leadership. And so I try to show up in a certain type of way to where I feel like I'm benefiting them in their careers. But also, as important as my career is to me, are my family, my friends, and my now husband. And so, doing those things and prioritizing those things are as important to me as my career. I remember thinking that you can't really have it all, but I've learned that with preparation and prioritizing the things that you care about, you can. And so, I'm a little bit OCD, and you know this about me. And it's funny that I have this sitting here right next to me, but I write everything down in my calendars, and I put people in there, and I put events in there, and I put work in there, and I just plan. I'm a planner, and making sure that I know that Brittany's birthday is this Friday and I need to plan for that versus a show that we need to produce by Wednesday and have things done for it, or to know that my friend has a big thing coming up in three months. I plan everything. And planning, it doesn't always hit the mark. Sometimes things change, but I think it helps you to be present in the areas that are important to you. So I try to plan, and I try to remember that people are centric to everything that I do. So if I don't show up for Brittany's birthday celebration, how would she feel? Because I remember when someone didn't show up for me. And so people are so important to me, and I try to make that a part of who who I am and what I do and how I do things.
Yes, people are important people. Because a lot of times we don't really think about that. Like, and that's a great point. I'm very glad that you said that. I'm also glad that you talked about planning because planning is important. Like, even when, so Whitney also, we talk about, this show is centered in music a lot too, or whatever. We've had poets and everything like that. Well, I don't have to tell you. Whitney shows up to my show every Monday that I've had it too, you know. But in saying that, like, that's a very important thing that we talk about when we talk about the things that Columbus puts on, like whether it be like a fair or whether it be like a what else have we had, block parties or something like that. One of the things that we have felt like Columbus is like is support. And even though we might come out to it, we might not see a lot of people there, as opposed to other places where you'll see it filled to the brim of people, you know, and even people in Columbus will travel to go to other places and support, but they won't necessarily be here to support, you know. So what are some things that you've seen like throughout the community that you think that we should change a little bit? Or what are some things that you should suggest that we could actually do to help the community a little?
Oh, well, I'll say I hope this part makes sense. I'll say sometimes when we get in our roles, because we are Black women and even Black men, we hold on to it and we see it as something that we need to keep to ourselves versus socializing it with other people. And so a lot of the times when events happen in Columbus, I don't necessarily know about it until the very last minute. And so I think if I saw more examples of people who were outward about their success and were really open to helping people, other people coming up, understand how to get there, perhaps if we socialize things more, maybe people will understand it more. So in some ways, I feel like, and then another thing, and maybe I'm guilty of it. People, they become talented and they leave Columbus, and you don't know a lot about what's happening in Columbus. So I think we need to socialize and really support each other more. So if Shanay has something going on in Columbus, even if I'm in Atlanta, I could use my audience and help to support her. I think we lack overall supporting within our community. And if we could do a little bit more of that, I think we could see more inroads and we can see different outcomes to supporting each other versus getting in a role and thinking they're going to only hire one of me, so I can't tell other people about it, versus socializing it, helping young women or young men come up behind us. I think that's where we see the change. That's where we see more people looking like us, being in places that are influential. And I hope that answers what you were asking.
It definitely did, and that's like a great segue into like why we started this platform and why she even said this right now. Like that's exactly what the MEC organization is working to do, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it because we speak about this a lot and about how we just wish more things were going on, so we had an opportunity to mentor more people or to like bring people along or to give advice or to just, you know, support and just show our face so you can see that we actually care about what's going on. Because like you said, this is a place that we grew up and we have seen people grow up and do great things. Like even we could just talk about like our
Our
particular
friend circle.
like in our friend circle, yeah, and the
Mhm.
things that they went on to do. When we were younger, we never would have thought that. I mean, we knew we would be somebody because everybody's somebody to us, you know. Everybody has a purpose to us. That's what we speak that all the time into each other and into other people because I truly believe that everyone has a purpose. They just have, even if you're not living in it right now, you just haven't found it. But you definitely have a purpose and you're definitely supposed to do something. Like you are somebody regardless. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not because you are. You definitely are. You just might be in the wrong place right now, you know? And as soon as you step out on faith, you'll be in your place, you know? But I feel
Absolutely.
like a lot of times we look at our right now instead of what it could be and the bigger picture. We are so focused on like right now and the present and right here and like you said, holding on to our success. Oh, I don't know if I'll get another job like this. or I don't know if I'll get another placement like this, or I don't know if I'll be able to step in this place again. So let me not say anything to her because I don't know, she might be better than me at this. Not knowing that this was made just like your job specifically for you. You know what I mean? So nobody else can take that because it was made specifically for you and your abilities and what you can offer to that particular position. So that's what I like about Mick, and that's why I like to bring people like you around, because I think it's important for people to see. I don't think I know. It's important for people to see us and people that look like us, because there are a lot of things that people think when they first see us, and it might not necessarily be all the things that we've accomplished. You know,
Yeah.
even if we want it to be, you know, or we're both very goofy people. People don't know that, but we are
They
very,
don't.
yeah, we are very goofy people, especially together, you know. But when you first see us, you might think we're stern, you know, or you might not think we're approachable. But it's a thing where if we were to socialize more and to be in each other's presence more, you would know that automatically, because you would see me in my element and me around different people and me loving different people. Because I say this saying all the time, respect, you know, people say respect is earned. I don't believe in that. I believe disrespect is earned, not
Hmm.
respect. You know, I feel like when you first approach somebody, you automatically respect them based on your own morale and how you want to be treated. So I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated when I first meet you, you know. But if you come at me a certain way, then you just earn the disrespect that you about to receive back, you know.
Mm.
So I like I like to say that disrespect is earned, not respect. I feel like you should treat everybody with respect. I feel
Yeah,
like karma is full circle, even in that. Even in one little meeting, me just saying hi to you, that junk can come back on me full circle. Like, it,
absolutely.
so.
And Shanay, and all that you said, I think socializing is also important because I went through a bout of time in my career where I think you guys have had heard the term imposter syndrome, or where we feel like we've been given a position or an opportunity and somehow it's going to be snatched from underneath us. And I feel like if I had more Black women, Black men, Black people in general in the space that I'm in, perhaps I would have known that I belonged where I am today. And I didn't think that someone would pull it from underneath me and somehow it would be all over and done with. So I think socialization helps with support, but it also helps with the person who is in a position knowing that they belong there. And once you feel like you belong in a place, you start to bring in other people that look like you because you're comfortable with where you are. And
Right.
so happy that I got over that stage and now I'm hiring for CNN in our organization and I get to hire people that look like me. I've gotten to hire people from Columbus into spaces that I lead. And I think it's so important that we know who we are and we sit in that and we don't think that we're imposters and we know we belong, because once you know who you are and you're fully yourself, you get to give back in a way that is so big. And so I think that belonging is important. So if we keep socializing, we can see ourselves in spaces that we might not have seen before.
So, what do you tell a little girl that's similar to you that doesn't really know where she's going, but she knows she works hard? What would you tell her?
I think that's a good question. And it's be who you are, be truly yourself in all that you are. Like I said, I went through a stage where I sort of watered myself down. I knew I was smart. I knew I came with a lot of knowledge and different experiences, but I still watered myself down. When I came to CNN, I was one of the youngest managers that they hired. And I was managing people twice my age, three times my tenure. And I wanted to be amicable to all those people who were around me. So I just wanted to please people. And some of that dropped pieces of myself on the floor. And I found that it made other people comfortable, but it didn't really serve me well. And so when I got to a point through therapy, through talking to you and other people, to where I feel like I was fully myself, the wrong opportunities, they missed me, and the right opportunities, they came to me. And so much so that the right opportunities, they kept coming and they kept coming. The right projects, they kept coming and they kept coming. And now I'm in a position to where in my personal life and in my professional life, I get to choose what I'm a part of, and I have options, and I get to pick what I want to be a part of because I showed up as myself. And I think, once you show up as yourself, the door is really, really open for you. And you may have more options than you ever thought you could.
What do you tell that little girl about the adversity of people looking down on you because you are the youngest person coming in, or they might feel like they deserve a position over you? How do you tell her to hold her head in that position?
Well, I laugh because really, when I was really young in my position as management, and somebody said, "Well, you're my daughter's age and you're not supposed to be here." And I said, "Well, is that good for me or is it bad for you? Because I'm leading you." And but that was probably not the right thing to say. I'll say that. But that was my young girl trying to, like, come up with a response. But I do think it's important to really be who you are and lean into that. And I'll say it can't just be being who you are, but if I go back to some of the things that my mom taught me, if you have the work ethic and you are kind to people, you don't even have to have the skill. You can be taught on the job. I remember, there are things at CNN that I didn't know. I didn't know how to do it, but I worked 150% more than my counterpart, good or bad, whatever people may think of that. I worked really hard and I was trying to be decent to people. So when projects came up, they said, well, maybe Whitney doesn't have the skill, but she's going to work hard and she's going to be good to people and she's going to figure out how to do it. And when I say that, I mean showing up as yourself and doing all of those things that I just mentioned. It'll open doors that, you're able to learn on the job versus having to have the skill to get the job. And I think that's important.
Yeah, we got a saying too that the talent gets you the job, but character keeps your job.
Absolutely.
That's
That's
the
the
thing
thing.
all the time. Because
That's the
I speak
thing.
on that often on this show. I know, like often. Like I don't think people really understand how much your character speaks for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
If I think about somebody who influenced me a lot in my career, you have, my friends have, the teachers at Hardaway have, but my mom has in such a way that I can't even explain. There's one thing that she always says. It's so old school. My mom, so she's, I love her.
that's my
She
best friend.
would say something like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so that, to me, when she said that, everything that I did, whether it's planning an event, how I am about my events, whether it's work or just approaching anything, I'm giving 150, 180%. And when you do that, you don't have to do that forever. You just have to do it for a short amount of time because people, they come to know you. They come to know your brand. And I never knew I had a brand until my boss started describing me to people, and other people described me in the same way. And so my brand is I work hard, I'm good to people, and I'm gonna always show up and do, 150%. And so I think that part is important too.
What do you want to add to your brand? What are some things that you don't necessarily feel like you're um, that you feel like not the world now
Mhm.
that you feel like you haven't necessarily conquered yet that you would love to do?
Yeah, so I feel like I have the career. It's stable. It is everything I want it to be. I'm able to give back through my teams who influence what people see on the TV. But that's just not enough for me. I would love to one day be able to go back to Columbus or even in Atlanta or both at the same time would be the most ideal space, and have a space where I can mentor. I say women because I'm interested in Black women. Representation is important to me, but also just Black people in general. Just a mentoring space so that people can see themselves in places where I didn't. So I really want to create a sort of mentor group for women and black people to engage in, so that they could learn and feel a bridge to bigger organizations that they don't see themselves a part of. That's what I want to do. I think throughout the course of my career, I've had so many people hit my DM and Instagram or on Facebook and say, Whitney, how can you mentor me? Tell me how you did what you did, or don't tell me how you did what you did, but just mentor me as a woman maneuvering through the world. And I've had time for some people, other people, I was still trying to figure myself out. But just like my mom was able to give back to people when she had 1,000 things going on, I want to take a beat and pause and really know that my career is going to always be here. But how do I feed into other people? And that part of me I haven't yet satisfied, but I want to create a space for that.
And you will. And this will be your first little stepping stone to getting that done. So people can see your heart and what it is. I mean, it's not hard to see your heart if you just have a conversation with you. But, you know, I have one more question for you. I might have two, but I'll lie and say one for now because, you know, it's my show and I can do that. But
Sure show, flex. Okay.
so I like to ask a question about like because I like to give advice to the younger generation right now. And we talked about what we would say to like a younger high school age person, but we haven't really talked about the college age girl like we talked about before, like that doesn't really know what they want to do, because I know we both went through a period where we thought we were going to do something and we ended up doing something completely different. And, you know, I like to give credit to God because I feel like God leads your way. Like, even when you don't really see it for yourself, like you just think you're walking, he's kind of holding your hand through the situation because you really can't see it right now, but, you know, he's your headlights, you know. But I want to know about a specific time where you just knew that it was God, like, leading you. Because I like to give, like, inspiration, you know, to certain situations, you know what I'm saying? But I would love to know about a time where you just knew, like, this was it. Like, you talked about opportunities, all the best opportunities started coming your way once you started, like, getting rid of all the negative thoughts and all the negative, like we say nowadays, all the negative vibes, you know. But I would love for you to just give one example of that in your time.
It's hard, Shanay. There are a lot of opportunities. I just feel like God has held my hand the entire way. And it's been so incredible to see, you know, what I thought of myself when I was 17 to what I think of myself today, 32. It's a lot. I don't remember a time where God let my hand go. But I can't remember if I mentioned this today or not, but I remember when I got my promotion at my other job. It was a sweet situation with good pay, right? And it was a Fortune 500 company, and anybody would have stayed there and rolled that thing out. They had good benefits. It was a decent company. And I was going into CNN that was unknown, and it came very shortly after I got a promotion. And I was wondering, was this my path or was this just something distracting me from what I was supposed to do? It's funny. My first day at CNN, we got a message. Mind you, I had just gotten a promotion at my other job. Everything was sweet. The pay was good. Everything was decent. I was leading teams there too. And we got a message that said, they called it AT&T 2020. And it was an initiative to get rid of a lot of the organization. And what it said in that message was that no one is exempt. And that was my first day of working. So my first day of working, the company was in a phase where it was letting go of people, and it was letting go of people within my department. So I'm thinking to myself, did I make the right decision? Like, I'm literally going to a job where the first day I get a message that my job could be gone. Mind you, this was a job that was created for me. So it wasn't something that had always been a part of CNN. So I'm thinking, I don't know. This is a job that was created for me. It's my first day. They're telling me that they're going to let go of a lot of people. And they did. They let go of a lot of people. And I was actually tasked within my first month to let go of people that I had just met. And I knew God was there for me because through that situation, in each situation that happened thereafter, CNN goes through a phase of modifying its people and its organization. And I've never been touched. And I'm confident to say that because of how I work, how I show up, how I care for people, the impact that I make on my teams, no matter what CNN goes through, I will always get to choose what I do and when I get to leave. And I say that confidently because of how God has shown up in my life so many times. So that situation gives me the confidence in saying what I just said, is that they'll never get rid of me. I'll always get to choose where I get to go. And so I say that confidently, knowing that God is on my side.
Yes, that's a word. That's a word in itself for real. Because at the end of the day, I just really hope that people see how much of an inspiration you are to everybody around you. Not only, like you said, everybody around you, but people that don't even know you. And we both know that to be true. People have always like reached out to her and asked her for things. But as I said, Whitney is humble. You know, she's always like, what? Okay, you know, okay, you know. But I always been brilliant. I always been like the smartest one out of all us. You know what I'm saying? Especially book wise, she was killing the game. You know,
Not true.
talking about the National Honor Society, all that. That was her. She and like the track star of the school, everything. Yeah, that was her.
Talking
But
too much.
on top of that, you were never not humble. You know, you always had a great heart. You always approach people the right way. You know, you've always been a great friend to me. I know that Brittany and Kanar and everybody else say the same, but I can like speak for me right now, but you've always been a great friend for me. You've always been there for me whenever I needed you. But on top of that, you've always excelled. And I don't see you stopping anytime soon because nothing has ever made you stop working hard. Like nothing. No matter what's been thrown at you, you've always worked hard. You've always done what you needed to do. And I appreciate you for being on my platform and coming on because a lot of people don't know, but Whitney does not like being in front of the camera, but she did this for me. And I am so happy. Like I told her, congratulations on your first interview because I'm sure you'll have many more to come.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. And like she said, she has a husband, newly married. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I would also like to say that we will have you back because we will be talking about all things us. And we need people like you, people with hearts and minds like yours, to be represented at all times because, you know, brown skinned girls, we need as much representation as we can have because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, there are representations of us. I'm not trying to say that there aren't for our audience. We do know we have representation, but a lot of times it's not as inclusive as we want it to be.
Right.
There are more. We are a multifaceted group of individuals, and we would love to be highlighted as such. So we love to highlight ourselves, and we love to like speak because we want the world to see us for who we are. And I love the fact that you are helping our organization by coming on because MEC is striving to do everything you just said. Everything you said was 100% right when it comes down to Columbus. Just socialize with each other and be around for each other and build a community because it's more than capable. We are more than capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
There are so many different hearts and minds that could come together to build a city that is unstoppable. And we know that because we grew up there. So tell people where they can find you and all of your handles.
All of my handles. I don't know if I have that many. I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is at what is it, Shanay? At Whitney Michelle. I think that's my Instagram. I'm Whitney Hudson on Facebook, and that's about it. Those are the only two places where you might be able to find me. Shanay's laughing.
You just say, what is
I
my
forgot. I think it's at Whitney Michelle. No, at Miss Whitney Michelle. There we go. See, I don't know my own handle. But yeah, there you go.
Yes, please follow her. Please, please, please hit her up. Let her know that you are watching her and that we are very proud of her and all of her success. She didn't mention this, but soon she will be in front of the camera as well. We just know it's going to happen. She tries to deny it, but it's undeniable. She's going to have to do it eventually. But I'm glad that I can always say that I had her in front of the camera first. So. Again, everybody, please like the Music and Entertainment Council's page. Please subscribe to their YouTube page. Please follow every single one of our videos so that you can see the links to the videos to come. And we will join you again in 2 weeks with another special guest. Again, today is June the 7th, 2021. This is episode 8, and we have featured the beautiful Miss Whitney Hudson. Anything you want to say before you leave?
No, Shanay, I love what you're doing. I love what Mac is doing. I think it's a great thing for the community. So keep doing that. I think people need more of this. They need more of hearing and seeing people that, like I keep saying, look and sound like them. So keep doing that. I think this is beautiful. And I'm tuning in every single Monday that you're on because I think you've had so many great guests. Shout out to Kennard, Andre, some of the really good people who helped me as I was going along. So thank you, Shanay, for having me today. I appreciate it.
All right, love you, girl. And we'll see you guys later.